Hey YouTube, Anthony here from Booth's Handyman Services. My next project is working on my wife's vehicle. This is a common problem for Mercedes-Benz. This is a 2013 Mercedes ML350 SUV. We're getting a moldy, musty, really bad smell coming out of the AC vents when running the air conditioning. And after doing some research, there is a potential reimbursement that you can get from Mercedes by bringing the vehicle to the dealer and having an air conditioning service done. The catch is, depending on how old your vehicle is and the mileage, you end up having to pay for a good part of the repair. So with saying that, I decided to do it myself. Basically what you see here is the first filter out of the cabin filter housing under the hood. That is a dust collecting filter that you can remove. Behind that is located the two cabin filters. That's what I'm grabbing right now. So I found that these three filters, changing them did not repair the problem. Almost 100% of the time when you have your air conditioning giving off a bad smell, it is actually your evaporator located under the dash, located under your glove box. So with saying that, after pulling these three filters out, I found that they were perfectly fine, went ahead and replaced them anyway, and there was no change. So then I researched a little deeper into it and found that the evaporator canister holds condensate water. That condensate water does not drain properly out of the drain tube under the vehicle. So the instructions are to spray evaporator foam cleaner inside that chamber. And as you can see, this is a product that I purchased to do that exact thing. So the instructions state you have to remove a kick plate underneath the glove box and search for a tube that you disconnect so that you can run a skinny hose that comes off of this can and you spray the material inside. That foam then goes around the evaporator and cleans the area, and at the same time unclogs the drain tube that is supposed to drip down. Now, as you know, all vehicles when running the air conditioning usually ends up with a puddle of water under the car, which is condensate water, just like your air conditioning in your home. It's interesting, ever since we got the car, we never had a puddle of water under our car while running the air conditioning, but I never thought anything of it. So after finding the area, and I'll show you here in this part of the video, I finally start taking everything apart and find the tube. It is not easy to find it at first, but if you take a look, I'll eventually be able to point that out for you. So what you do is you disconnect the tube you're about to see. With the can of evaporator cleaner that you get comes a flexible hose or a tube that you run inside the tube that you see. Inside that plastic chamber is the evaporator. If you shine your light in there just right, you can actually see the evaporator. So feed the skinny hose that comes with the can inside there and start spraying the trigger. Here's the underneath area. Actually, you can see the can. I showed the can really quick. Now under here, finally you can see some drips of foam coming down, which is a great sign. This is exactly what's supposed to happen. I apologize for the camera bouncing around, and I did use my flashlight a little too much. This flashlight actually shines on the drain tube area, so I apologize for that. But in any event, you can see by spraying inside the evaporator case under the glove box, water has finally, and the foam has finally cleaned out the drain tube, and now it's dripping down. One thing I forgot to mention is you do have to take off the underneath protection cover, if you will, so that you have exposure to this drain tube. So it worked out well. One of the things I did do is I let that foam material stay in the canister housing for about 15 minutes to let that foam loosen up the water, take all of the debris off of the evaporator. And then what you do is you let that sit again for 15-20 minutes. Then run your air conditioning. The blower will actually go over the evaporator, remove the debris, and go through the drain tube. And it worked exactly as the instructions state. Now here, you can see I ran my screwdriver through the rubber grommet that is attached to the drain tube. And again, I know the flashlight, I basically did not need the flashlight to shine up there, but in any event, the screwdriver I ran through the rubber grommet to clean out debris and dirt that would not allow the water to drain down. This is definitely something you can do as long as you can jack the car up, put it on ramps, remove the lower shield that protects the underneath of the car. You then have the opportunity to go under the dash, as I did, under the glove box, remove everything, run the skinny hose to spray your evaporator foam inside, and you can do it. As you can see underneath the car here, look at that. Finally, after all this time, this is after running the air conditioning for about 10 or 15 minutes, plenty of condensate water, as it's supposed to, drips down onto the ground. Now, the one thing I will mention, if I didn't mention it before, you're going to want to do this process more than once. Spray the foam in there, let it sit for 15 minutes, run the air conditioning for 15 minutes on high, then let it sit for a while, run the skinny hose back up inside that tube, spray the foam in there, let it sit for 15 minutes, and run the AC for 15 minutes. Number one, you're better off using the entire can that you buy, and two, doing the process 2 different times is you're much better off. So far, and it's been, I would say, at least 30 days since I made this video, the air conditioning no longer gives off that awful musty smell, which was annoying whether you own a Mercedes-Benz or not. Let's face it, when you turn your air conditioning on, you shouldn't be smelling this mold, disgusting smell, which really is a turn-off, to say the least. I think at the end of the video here I point out the fact that the vehicle I was working on was my wife's. I own a 2001 Chevy Silverado. So to all the advice out there to the guys who want to take care of their wives, you should definitely drive the old beater and give the boss the nicer car. Well, I certainly am glad you're able to watch the video with me. I hope that you have the confidence to take on this project, and please comment. Let me know if I left something out, or if you need a little bit more advice. I'm happy to share it with you. I could only assume that this is what the dealer will do for you, and there's no reason why you can't do it yourself. As far as expense is concerned, the can of evaporator foam was around $20, and the cabin filters and that dust filter, all 3 filters, I think was like 60 bucks. So it doesn't hurt to take care of changing the filters and doing the maintenance anyway. And honestly, if you have to do this once a year, it's not a big deal. Just wanted to point out the older truck in the background there and the boss's car. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this was